So, historically, we had many flavors of Unix-like systems. And some of them are still alive today. And the most of them are open source and free. The best advantage of free systems is their availability. You can download many kinds of Linux or Unix systems for free. You can distribute such systems, download it from internet and use them to create your own customized solutions using a huge number of already existing components. For example, for educational purpose, we use our own Linux distribution called GNU Linux. This is is the abbreviated title of the Russian translation of the original scientific Linux project, Nauchny Linux. We are adding some software packages for working software-defined networks and quantum cryptography emulating, and are using these new distributions to simulate various complex systems in educational or research projects. This distribution is free and used by students to create their own solutions. Scientific Linux, on which we are based, is also free. It was created at Fermilab for use in high-energy physics and has focused, from the beginning of the creating, specialized flavors optimized for the needs of laboratories and universities. This, in turn, is based on Red Hat Enterprise Linux, RHEL, a commercial Linux distribution widely used in the industry. You will be charged for using the binaries for the distribution and getting support from the vendor. But the sources from this distro are still free, and anyone can download it and rebuild their own distro. The source of RHEL, in turn, is the Fedora experimental project developed by the community with the support of Red Hat, leveraging large communities of skilled and motivated users lowers the cost of testing, development and support for the company. And this is an example of the profitable use of the free and open source model by a commercial company. There are many free BSD operating system variants currently: FreeBSD, NetBSD, OpenBSD, DragonflyBSD. They all have their own specifics and their own kernels, which incompatible in system calls. This is a consequence of the fact that the development of those systems is driven only by communities in which disagreements arise from time to time, and they are divided according to different interests regarding the development of system. In Linux project, we still have one and only one benevolent dictator, Linus Torvalds. As a result, we still have a single main kernel development thread published on kernel.org. While many other experimental Linux kernel flavors are also being developed, not all of them are accepted into the mainstream. In turn, on the basis of this single kernel, the development of various operating system distributions is made, often with some changes from the distribution vendors. The most commonly used free Linux distributions are community-driven Debian project, Ubuntu distro based on Debian and developed by Canonical company, the Fedora project on which RHEL development is based, and CentOS, another free RHEL Respin, Gentoo, Arch, Alpine, and many other Linux distributions are also well known. Many projects are focused on embedded systems such as Buildroot, BitBake, OpenWRT, OpenEmbedded, and others. You can usually use them in different ways. Install on your computer, including coexistence with other systems such as Windows, with the ability to dual boot. Boot from a live image or network server without installing the operating system to a local hard drive. Run as a container or virtual machine on your local computer or network cloud, etc. You can find detailed information on installing and configuring such systems on the documentation of respective projects. Moreover, you can just use online services to access Unix or Linux systems. For example, PDP emulator with the original Unix, or a lot of online Linuxes. When you log in on your system, you will be asked for user and password. Depending on your system configuration, after logging in, you will have access to graphical interface or text console. In both cases, you will have access to shell command line interface, which we are most interested in. The user password is set by the root superuser during installation or system configuration, and this password can be changed by the user himself by the command password. As you can see, this may not be so easy. Password command protects us from bad passwords that are easy to crack. The most common guidelines for good passwords are long, at least 8 characters long, includes numbers, symbols, capital letters, and lowercase letters. Isn't a dictionary word or combination of dictionary words. Actually, now, as a recommendation, you can often find advice to simply use a common long phrase as a password. It usually brings many more combinations, making it difficult for hackers to crack. But the super user can change the password for any user with the same command without any restrictions. That's all.